Okay. Good morning, everyone. The first part of our presentation will focus on the main goal of our profession, is that we design. As we said last time, architecture became a design profession versus design build or master builder as it was in the past. So today we will talk about the design process. Yes. But as we said, the main task of the architectural office is to produce designs and supervise the construction. So we will talk about the process that any project goes through and the influences on the design process that makes a lot of changes during the work. So the first thing, as we discussed last time, the project goes through a cycle of stages. The first thing is that the project is initiated and the client asks for a design. So there is a stage of planning, developing the master plan, developing the program, the user's needs, the climatic analysis, everything related to the what we call pre-design activities before design. And the more time we spend developing this part, the best designs we can produce. So we need to provide the main part is the program, a complete full program for the project that identifies the goals, the constraints, the space program, the areas, and everything related to this. And the site analysis, site visits, site considerations related to the soil types, the surroundings, the future plans for the area or the site. So this part is followed by a design stage where we take all this information and develop it into a complete design. Sometimes you don't do the design, you only do the programming stage and send the document to another office to work on the design. Or you receive a document, a program, and start work on the design stage. So during that time, you work on schematic design, sketching, diagrams, and identify maybe study models, renderings, and you come up with a schematic design. You get approvals from the client, and then you have a final design with approvals before you move into the project development stage, where you develop the documents for the contractors to use for construction. I remind you to work on the Cornell notes for all of you. So you need to work on the development of the 6 parts of the construction documents: the drawings, the specs, the bills of quantities, the the general conditions, and any special conditions, and the addendum for the project. And then you give this document to the contractor, where they make bids and provide documents, proof of their capabilities and expertise, and they provide documents from banks and insurance companies and so forth. And after that, you select one contractor with the client, of course, and then starts the construction phase where the contractor gets the land and starts to work on the project. So you supervise the construction stage with the contractor and identify any discrepancies between the drawings of the specs and the actual construction on site. After the project is done, sometimes you are needed to do another type of work, which is called post-construction activities. The post-construction activities, they include maybe post-occupancy evaluation research. They might include as-built drawings, relocation plans for the occupants and users, furniture, and other types of work. So these steps are very important to know exactly what is your role during each one. The pre-design, mainly programming, the design phase, the schematic design and preliminary design and design development, the construction documents phase, where you have the different types of documents for bidding, and then the bidding and negotiation. And this is very important part that the architect plays a role in discussing with the contractors and the subcontractors the actual procurement of work. And then the construction phase, where you supervise the construction and make sure that it is following the drawings and the specs, and then the post-construction phase. Of course, we try to simplify this process by using methods like BASED. BASED is a simplified, I need to memorize 5 letters, BASED, like BASED. Briefing is the first stage of the project, where you identify the problems and the needs, and you come up with a program and site analysis. And then analysis, you analyze the program and the site and the goals and the needs. And then the synthesis stage, where you bring all these issues together through a concept that provides you with cover of all these aspects. طبعا the concept will be developed as forms and plans and schematic designs and so forth. And you end up with study models and preliminary design. Supposedly you are at this stage now in your graduation project too. You should be at this stage so that you start making evaluation in the submission and get feedback from the client or the instructors. And then you make a selection and optimization of your design. If that goes through, okay, you go to the design development stage. If not, you need to go back to the analysis stage and find out what exactly was missing from your work. So at the design development stage, you finalize the drawings, make final models, reports, computer drawings, presentations, and communication. This is the design part of the project. So you need to go through this to provide a good design. Yes. Okay. We continue our discussion of the design stages. We talked about the based design method to memorize the activities that you go through while designing the project: briefing, analysis, synthesis, evaluation, and design. If the design is not was not accepted in the evaluation stage, then you will need to go back to the analysis and find out what was missing or what was the problems. So briefing, analysis, synthesis, evaluation, and design. And these are the activities, the main activities that you do in each stage. The first stage is site analysis, programming. And the analysis stage, you make the bubble diagrams, the site analysis, all the climatic analysis, all the information through analysis stage. And then synthesis, they bring all this information together in one component through the concept design. And you communicate the concepts with your client or your supervisors. And then you go through an evaluation stage, and this will be influenced by the client's priorities, the client's needs, the authority, the owners, and so forth. And then you go through a design details and communication of the project. And then, as we said, the pre-design is a very important stage to spend as much time as you can in that stage, so that you collect all information that will be needed for the project. Otherwise, this will cause delay and problems later. So this pre-design stage is extremely important. The problem is that architects tend to jump into the design as soon as they get the site and they start to design excitement. No, hold yourself from designing and work on the programming, site analysis, user information, and keep that as long as you can. That's why in the graduation project, we divided the project into two parts. The first part is specifically for the pre-design activity: the programming, the site analysis, the user identification, and so forth. And then you go into the concept. The concept, as we said, is a second part of the concept. Is the third part of the project. Identification, where it covers all the program needs, the context, the site, and the form and space identification. So the concept covers all these things together. It has to be comprehensive in terms of the program needs, the site conditions, and the configuration of form, the massing, and the development of idea. So that's why the concept is one of the most difficult stages in design. After that, when you are settled on the concept, you can go ahead and produce your drawings as you can. So as you said, don't jump to design. Make the pre-design as long as possible, extend it as long as possible, because these hot ideas that you get as soon as you get the site are not the best or the most appropriate. You have to force yourself to understand the project as much as you can. Visit the site different times, different days, and find out as much as you can of the problems of the site. Why is pre-design important? Because the more you spend in the planning and programming stage, okay, the more impact you can make on the project with less cost. The cost will only changing numbers, adding text, identifying new items. So this is simple and less costly. When you develop in the schematic design and the design development, changes you make will cost a lot of money because you need to change drawings, you need to change specifications, you need to change bills of quantities. Still office work, but it also costs money. When you progress into the construction phase, any change you make will cost you a lot because you will demolish walls or demolish floors or change locations or add annexes to the building. So this is very costly. So that's why the more you progress in the project, the more cost of change increase. So it's better to spend time here and make all the required changes than to spend time here and make changes that cost you money. So these two curves are very important to remember in terms of the cost, because the cost will be an extremely important element in the actual work. So you need to identify the client needs, different types of clients, and also you are involved in the costing from the day one. From the day one, the client will ask for the cost of the project. And this will be your role. We will talk about how to estimate the cost of projects. And you go through value management studies. There is a branch called value engineering that you should also take courses in. And this is a tool that allows you to optimize the use of materials and change the cost of the project. Life cycle cost analysis means that you identify the life cycle of the materials and equipment and the type of work that you have in the project, so that you select not necessarily the cheapest material, but the material that will save you money in the future. That's why we call it life cycle cost analysis. Now, all site analysis, the geometrical, the geotechnical, the topography maps, the soil tests, all these types of investigations are important. And then you go through the master plan. The schematic design stage, this is the most fun part of the architectural work, where you have the data, the site, and then you start making the layout, the master plan, the plans, the elevations, the sections, study models, select materials for the finishings, color, and also develop a cost plan. At each stage, you have to write a report. Writing is extremely important for ARC. You write at each stage a final report that you submit to the client with the drawings, explaining everything in it, and ask them to sign. So you have to write a cover letter, an executive summary, a report, and the drawings, and you send all this package to the client. So for them to sign, so that you can move to the next stage. The next stage, you start to discuss the project with the consultants, the structural engineer, the electrical engineer, the mechanical engineer, so that they HVAC, lighting, sound systems, everything that relates to the project, because this part increases the cost of the project tremendously if not studied well. The mechanical systems, the HVAC system, the plumbing systems, the water storage, or everything that relates to the what we call MEP, mechanical, electrical, plumbing systems for the project. And also you provide cost estimate of how the project is increasing or approaching the final cost. So you provide to the client a fully detailed site plan, full plans, roof plan, elevations, sections, reflected ceiling plan, typical elements, finishing, and a report at the end. So two things that must accompany every submission: cost estimate and report. It's not enough to present drawings. Your clients will not be architects. Your colleagues are architects, but your clients most probably are accountants, lawyers, physicians, any other profession. So you have to write explanations of what you intend in your design. And then the contract documentation, as you said, you prepare build drawings and specs. These are very essential parts. We have working drawings that you studied and specifications, general specifications that adhere to the specifications of the country, and special specs that adhere only to your project. And then bills of quantities. This is a major task that done by specialized people, and it's very exhaustive. They measure every item in the building in terms of meter run or meter square or quantity, every type of door, of window, of ceiling, of lighting fixture. Everything is specified and counted and measured. And this is what the contractor will use to estimate the price, the cost. So, and then this will provide you with tender estimate before actually calling the contractor. So the client understands that this will be the actual cost of the project. And you finish the coordination of the work of all disciplines. As we said, the construction documents, they are made of 6 parts. First thing is your drawings, the working drawings. The working drawings are done by the architect mainly, and there are different divisions for the structural, the mechanical, the electrical, the plumbing, the HVAC. Each consultant develops also working drawings for his or her discipline. And then we have these other items. We have the specs and bills of quantities. This is a major task done by also specialists. You can specialize in this part. And then the contract forms and conditions. What are the forms that the contractor will fill to apply for the job? And the bidding requirements, because you have to have bank insurance, bank letters, CV, proof of registration from the contractor, and then the contractor submits the offer. During the review of the offers, you can issue changes to the project. And this is what you call addenda. Addenda is a change of work during the bidding, not after the signing of the contract. After the signing of the contract, we call it change of order or variation order. It means that the change was requested after the contractor received the project and started the work. And there's a big difference. The addenda does not cost you money. Might cost you time for the contractors to study the change. But the change order, this will cost you a lot of money. So you have to be very careful. Any changes can be done until this part only. And any contract modifications later can be done before the signing of the contract. The working drawings are made of several parts. Of course, the architectural parts are the main elements. And then we have the different types of drawings that made by other disciplines or specializations. Tender evaluation is a very important stage, and it's a very short stage, very condensed, and you have to be very alert during that stage. You make calls for tenders, maybe it will be public call in newspaper, or maybe you select a number of contractors, or you assign to a certain contractor. And then they will reply with the documents, the cost estimates, and then you need to evaluate the tenders. And this is an important stage that you do with the client, that you evaluate the tenders to select the appropriate contractor. So your role is to advise the client. The client is the one who signs with the contractor, not the architect. Your role is as advisor for the contractor. And then the execution of the contract. During the progress of work, you need to provide reports. Weekly reports, monthly reports of the progress of work, any discrepancies, any problems, any changes of materials or issues during the construction, and any cost adjustment of the project, and you approve the contractor's requests for payments, as we will discuss later. After the construction is finished, you need to provide manuals. How will people use this project? You need to provide list of equipment that you are available. You can provide maintenance inspections periodically. Provide materials and documents for the warranties and maintenance schedules, and energy and environmental surveys after the construction is finished, or a complete post-occupancy evaluation. And the amount of time and energy put in each stage is important. As we said, we have about 15% of the time spent in the schematic part, and about 20 in the design development, and 40 in the construction documents, and 5 in the bidding and negotiation, and 20 in the construction stage. You have to be careful about these numbers because they also reflect cost and fees. How much money will I get for each fees? And how much effort do I need to put in each part? So you have to be careful when managing your office about how to adjust your effort and time to these different activities that you work on. As I said the last time, don't work for free. You have to work for money. And this should be done through contracts. The contract between the architect and the client or the owner. There must be a contract signed by both parties. And this contract outlines the design tasks. What will you do? What are you required what is required from you? the specific responsibilities. Are you going to do the whole design or just the architectural design? So you might do architectural and structural, and then the client will do the mechanical and electric. You have to identify exactly what is required from you and provide a schedule. After 2 weeks, I'll provide the program. After 4 weeks, I'll provide the schematic design. After 1 month, and so forth. So a schedule of what will you, when will you provide each stage, and exactly what will you submit. Some clients consider a schematic design is a room full of drawings. You have to specify exactly. At this stage, the deliverable will be A3 size drawings, including this and this and this and this. Otherwise, the clients expect to pay £10 and get a work worth 10,000. So you have to be very careful of the timing, the content of what you are delivering at this stage. You might be asked to do other things, not design. You can be asked to do energy studies, economic studies, special renderings, models, brochures. Everything must be done through a contract. And the contract should specify the stages, the timing, the deliverables, what are you going to deliver, in what form, what size. This should be very clear. You should get approvals in writing for each stage, signed by the client. Otherwise, they change their words later. No, I didn't want this, I wanted that. No, I didn't approve this, I approved that. Clients, I don't want to say another word, but they change their words all the time. And this is very well, that's why everything must be documented in writing. Approval of a program in writing. They have to sign on the program. They have to sign on the schematic design. Because later they will come and say, no, I didn't ask for this. No, you asked and you signed at that specific date. Don't take approvals verbally. Don't take approval verbally. They must be in writing. If the client doesn't want to sign, you send them a letter or an email, a formal email, based on your approval on this and this and this and this. The second stage will start, and you are requested to pay this amount of money now to start the project. This will protect you that the client approved in a certain date, and they have to pay the money. If they don't pay it, you are not going to start the next stage. This is not a charity. This is a profession. You need to work for money. You provide excellent service based on education and experience, but this has value. You all know the famous story of a factory was stopped because a machine malfunctioned and didn't work. So they asked who can fix this. They got a man from another continent by plane. They said that this is the only person who can fix it. He's an old man, and he came and looked at the machine, and then he pushed part of the machine, and then it started working. And he asked for $100,000 for his visit. Said, $100,000 just to do this? said, yes, this is a product of 40 years of experience and 2 degrees from universities and a lot of work done around the world. So now your education has value, and every experience and expertise you add to it has value. And this is what you will live on the rest of your life. At this stage, the design is influenced by many issues that you might not consider during your education. We don't talk much about it. But these influences you might find are extremely important, and they change the project a lot. You might have a different cultural context, social context of the project that you didn't experience before. It might have special requirements and limitations. So this poses new challenges for your project. So the first part is the program. Of course, we all know the program, the requirements, and any needs of the project. The community, you have to consider the area where the project will be placed and how will this impact the community around, because your project might be alien to the area or the people that you built within. So you have to look for the public agencies' approvals, and you need to consider any objections that might arise from making your projects, or support. Your project might gain support from the community. Codes and regulations are extremely important. You don't consider much in your study, in your university work, but you have to cover, and there are special architects in the offices that they work only on these codes and regulations. And they make sure that the designs are in compliance with these codes. But otherwise, you'll finish the design and the construction documents and everything stops, because you didn't consider the safety requirements, the land use, the lighting, light and area zoning, and the major design safety issues. On all the requirements of the site and client, you are trained well in your university to consider that. The physical characteristics, the climatic, environmental factors, access, adjacent land uses, and so forth. This is a major influence on the design. Building context and fabric, like we did in design, that you consider the surroundings and how your project will fit in it through the materials, fenestration, colors, detailing, and existing structures. How would you relate to the surroundings, as we did in the historical project we did. Building technology is very important. You are expected to provide the latest technology and expertise in your area, using materials, using finishings, systems. So you have to be updated all the time with new materials. So you have to attend the exhibitions, the fairs of materials and construction, and collect catalogs and data and the prices and locations of new marble, new floors, new walls, new everything advanced in your industry. Sustainability is becoming an essential part for many projects, and they require maybe rating before designing and providing all the consultations for that issue. Cost is extremely important. And this will be actually one of the most influential elements in your design. So you have to be able to estimate budgets and costs for the project. And if the client has a limited budget, you have to work with it. If they don't, you have to keep them informed from the beginning of the estimated cost so that you save your effort. Sometimes you keep working, and then when the clients find that the cost is high, they oh, no, I'm not going to go for it. So where are my fees? No fees. I'm not going to build it. And you go into big problems with them. So you have to provide a budget from the beginning and also make sure that clients will bargain. Bargaining is a continuous element in our fees, in the project cost. They try to reduce the cost as much as they can. As we said, the cost optimization is maximum during the programming stage. The more we develop in the project, the less cost optimization we can achieve. That's why don't jump into design. Extend the pre-design stage as much as you can so that you provide a complete, comprehensive picture of the project. Scheduling is very important. The types of work and the duration and how much time you need to finish your design. And the same thing you will need to do for the construction. And scheduling, a very important program, Primavera, is used in many offices. And there's also Microsoft Project. And they used to provide the scheduling for the project. At the end, there is no good client. All clients are have their issues. So you have to not expect that you are having an excellent client in terms of requirements, payments. Some clients have clear ideas. Some others, or most of them, they don't know what they want. So you keep trying. So you need to help them, work with them to achieve what you both want. Okay? There is no perfect client. You have to expect issues with any client. Okay. Thank you very much. And we will stop here. I need to get all the names of the groups and the selected offices, international and local. Are you all now in groups or not? Anyone is not in a group? Got you? Right. I want to make sure that all groups, because we are about to start the presentations for the works.